Well, Merry Christmas to you all out there. If you happen to be celebrating a holiday, I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and friends. Eat a lot today. You're allowed. It's calorie free. It doesn't count today. And watch a little football too. What the heck? NBA used to own Christmas Day. Now the NFL's come in and just kind of push the NBA right to the side. Nobody cares about those five NBA games. But I'm going to talk about a couple of them and give you a couple of NFL free picks along the way. Um, I got to tell you something, a couple quick stories. As a kid, I never really watched football, but I can tell you that the first NFL game that I ever recall even taking a passing interest in, and again, I'm a kid, okay, what happened to be on Christmas Day, 1971, and I remember it vividly because we were all at my grandparents' house in Havertown, Pennsylvania. There must have been 15, 20 people because my grandmother, we always did Italian meals on Thanksgiving and Christmas. Everybody was invited. Half the neighborhood was invited. And back in 1971, there was one TV, and the Chiefs and the Dolphins were playing on TV. And to this day, it still happens to be the longest game in NFL history. The Dolphins won the game 27-24. I think it was 82 minutes and 40 seconds. And I remember all the men were crowding around TV. So I'm a little kid. What the hell? I got it. It's like you're not going to put cartoons on for me. And I remember that's the first game I ever realized that this thing called football was being played on TV. So that's my first memory of NFL football ever being played. Um, you love the motif here behind me in the latest Marriott hotel that I happen to be lit. I'm not a fan of this. I'm going to write Marriott and tell them this wallpaper sucks because harsh lighting, bad wallpaper for the backdrop. I'm just not pleased. As a lifetime titanium member, I really am not. But anyway, I happen to be in Philadelphia. My wife, my son, and we flew up to surprise my mother. And believe me, after the past couple of weeks, it was touch and go whether I was going to be healthy enough to do it. But my mom happens to have cancer as well, and is also going through chemotherapy. Because cancer chemotherapy, we like to do a whole family thing, keep it in the family here among ourselves. But I was happy that she actually recognized me when we walked in the door yesterday. A funny story. So, my mom's older and she has a little early onset dementia. And of course, the chemo, gives you chemo fog and, your brain just doesn't quite work the same way. And early in November, I'm walking out of Ohio State and she happens to be on the phone. And I say, yeah, Mom, I just got done my latest round of treatment. And she says, what treatment? I said, chemo. And she said, you had chemo? I said, yeah, Mom, for my leukemia. My mom says, you have leukemia? She totally forgot about it. But that's how it goes, So you have to laugh about it because what are you going to do? Cry? Hey guys, if you haven't noticed, I'm Al DeMarco, General Manager at DeMarcoSports.com. This is going to be your Christmas Day report because I had nothing better else to do in this hotel room today. So I figured, what the hell, I might as well do one. And let's get to your complimentary place. So after that miserable Saturday performance where I went 0-3 yesterday, oh my God, I redeemed myself. I went 3-1. Lost with the Broncos, and the Broncos lost themselves, so screw them. Did win the plays with the Lions, the Dolphins, and the Browns. So that means over the past 11 weeks in the NFL, I am 41-19 with a push with the NFL free selections. My best bet yesterday happened to be the Green Bay Packers. Now, it just shows you the value. And I've always said this, that you bet the favorites early and the underdogs late. So early yesterday, the Packers were a 3.5 point favorite. And most books, they were 3.5 points just about everywhere. And naturally, as I always say, I buy down the half point when the line crosses 3, 4, 6, 7, and even sometimes 10. So because the Packers place kicker missed a point after attempt, and because the Packers couldn't stop a junior CYO team, their defense sucks that badly. That game finished right there on 3. So walked away with a push. But what I always do, and just to let you know at the site, I counted it as a push, but I don't know when you play. I don't know where you play. So consequently, anybody that happened to be a long-term customer of mine on a package, or if you happen to come to the site yesterday and actually buy the play, what we do and what I tell my customer service department to do is anybody on a long-term package, you get an extra day for free. Anybody that bought the play individually, you get today's play on the 49ers and the Ravens game for free. It's just the right thing to do. Give somebody a make good because, again, I don't know where you played or when you played, but it just shows you the value. Again, you bet the favorites early and the underdogs late. It just 99.9% of the time, it's the way to do it. Another example yesterday happened to be the Dolphins and the Cowboys game. You look at where that line opened, you look at where it closed. You had the Dolphins and you walked away with the win at minus 1.5 and 2. However, if you happen to be on the Cowboys, you like the Cowboys, you should have been betting them on Saturday, for Christ's sake, not waiting till Sunday. It's just a matter of timing. So let's get to your complimentary plays today and talk about these games. Certainly interesting. Obviously, I can't talk about the San Francisco Baltimore game because that's going to be my best bet. It's going to be another raise the bar 20 dime release. I'm 4-0 with those plays in the NFL this season and hopefully looking to go 5-0. It's the half price play of the day using coupon code HALF, HALF. Let's talk about the game between the Eagles and the Giants. I'm here in Philly. What can I tell you about my Eagles? This is a team that has totally collapsed. But if you had watched Philadelphia all season, you know the Eagles hadn't been playing well. As I've said repeatedly this season, that defense had just been a house of cards waiting to collapse. A change in defensive coordinators is not going to make that team play any better. They have weaknesses at linebacker every year because they don't invest any capital in getting good linebackers. They just take hand-me-downs. The secondary has been pathetic, old, slow, or now inexperienced, and young. And the pass rush, so fearsome a year ago, has not been able to get to anybody. And you saw that in the last drive against Seattle the other night. Now, today, they take on a Giants team that they have absolutely owned, winning 16 of the last 19 in the series, including 10 straight at home at Lincoln Financial Field and previously at Veterans Stadium. You've got a team, however, that Philadelphia is, of course, yes, at home, playing on the short rest because they did play last Monday, but I think that's somewhat neutralized in the fact that this is a Monday game. So, yes, they had to travel back from Seattle, but they do have a normal week's worth of preparation. The key here is how healthy is Jalen Hurts? I go back to the knee injury that he re-aggravated about a month ago. I don't think he has been 100% healthy there, and it's affected his mobility. Is he over whatever illness that he had, whether it was COVID related or whatever, on Monday night when he certainly should not have played? And you saw as the game continued on that he certainly was not the Jalen Hurts that you're used to seeing. First of two games they play in against the Giants in the final 3 weeks. Tommy Cutlets, blah, 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 that whole thing with the Giants. Listen, the Giants are still a bad team. I think if you play the game, you lay the points with the Eagles because sooner or later, this Eagles team is going to get it going offensively again. So again, if you play the game, why would you invest on the Giants? I just don't see the value in taking the points with this dog tonight because, as I always like to say, sometimes dogs are simply dogs with fleas and they don't deserve to have those fleas scratched. And that's how I look at the Giants. Your early game with Kansas City, minus 10.5 at home against the Raiders. Remember what happened when these two teams met just about 30 days ago in Las Vegas. The Raiders jumped out to the 14-0 lead. And then Kansas City finally showed up to play. And from that point forward, it was game, set, match for the Chiefs as they rolled 31-17. Patrick Mahomes threw for 298 yards. Now, the best thing I think going for the Chiefs today is Tony. Mr. Dropsy is not playing, so that's good for the Chiefs. Isaiah Pacheco, who has missed the past two games, is going to be playing today. He was targeted 5 times in the first game, had 5 catches. He also ran 55 yards on 15 carries and scored twice. He's back in the backfield to help Mahomes. You tell me, which Raiders team is for real? The team that lost 3-0 to the Minnesota Vikings at home, or the team that beat up a Los Angeles Chargers team by 340 some points because the Chargers were injury riddled, didn't care? I don't know. I think the truth lies somewhere in between. I like Kansas City. The weather, many folks thought it was going to rain, perhaps snow. I looked at the weather report, the hourly, before starting this video. It's going to be clear. It's going to be ugly. I mean, cold, but it's going to be clear. So I'm going to go with them. And plus, look, the Chiefs have lost their last 2 home games to the Bills and the Bills and the Eagles. Can you possibly see the Chiefs losing a third straight home game? I don't think so. So I would go ahead and lay the points with Kansas City. Now, here's an interesting teaser for you. Just something to consider here. Would you be interested in taking Kansas City and Philadelphia in a two-team 7-point teaser? Taking Kansas City down to 3.5 against the Raiders? Taking the Eagles down to 6.5 against the Giants? Or let me throw this out at you. Would you be interested in doing and I don't normally do 10-point teasers, could you easily take Kansas City down to basically 1 at home against the Raiders? Love that. Could you take the Eagles down to -3.5 against the Giants, who, again, they've won 10 straight at home in this series? And then that leads us to San Francisco and the Ravens. Would you take the 49ers down to +4 at home? A team that's won 6 straight since coming off their bye? Would you take the Ravens +16? Just throwing it out there. Just saying. Now, let's talk about NBA action here. And there's 2 games that I think are very interesting and 2 different, and one of them you have to consider how you want to play it. Let's look at the night game between Miami and Philadelphia. So Joel Embiid is not going to play. As you know, in the 8-1 role that the 76ers are on, he's been hot. The last 13 games, he has scored at least 30 points and grabbed at least 10 rebounds. Now, this line has naturally swung in Miami's favor once it was announced that Embiid is not going to play, and now Miami is a 2.5 to 3-point chalk. The key here is you play Miami right this minute, and it's 9:20 Eastern time as I do this video. Why you do it now and not wait? Once again, 99.9% of the time you play the favorites early. But there's another factor to consider here. Jimmy Butler is questionable for this game because of a calf strain. He did not practice yesterday. They're going to have their shoot around probably around 11, 12, 12:30 sometime today. And when Butler's final playing status is ascertained, he is questionable right now. If the Heat, then when they release their updated injury report later this afternoon, if the Heat upgrade his status, this line is going to jump from 2.5 to 3 up to 4.5 to 5. Do you still want to be on Miami then? That's why you bet the Heat right now, if you agree with me that Miami is the play. And I think Miami is easily the play in this spot because minus Embiid, why would you bet the 76ers? Listen, you can go to NBA.com, click on the little button and get the injury report just like me. It's free, guys. It's that easy. The PDF launches and it's there for you. And that injury report gets updated hourly almost all day long. The other game is Milwaukee -3.5 maybe 3.5 to 4 in the noon game against the Knicks. This has been another one-sided series. Milwaukee's won 7. Hold it, Milwaukee. Let me just double check this. Gotta love live video reports. Miami's 3-0 this year in the season series, averaging 128.6 points. They've won 9 straight and 28 of the last 35 meetings. They just beat the hell out of the Knicks Saturday at the Garden, 130 to 111 with 5 double-digit scores in that one. The Knicks lost that game, even though Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle combined for 62 points. No other Knick had more than 12. The Knicks have no interior presence since they lost Mitchell Robinson to the season-ending knee injury. And the Bucks are only 3.5 to 4 points. What, did they get kidnapped in Midtown? I don't understand. Why is Milwaukee not 7 here? Because the game's being played early on Christmas Day? I don't get it. Love Milwaukee. So let's recap how I like these plays. In the NFL, it's tough. I got to be honest with you. I think the Eagles and the Chiefs, I like them equally. And that doesn't say I like them that much. But I had to give you a pick someplace, right? And then in the NBA, I like the Bucks first and then the Heat second. So there you go. I wish you well, guys. Enjoy the holiday and have a great time. Good luck, everybody.